A few days ago I posted a command line trick that was to basically get a today in history event from Wikipedia. Here's the actual command. It uses a program called elinks, which is a more modern version of Link's web browser for a terminal client, and it basically dumps out the results of downloading the web page, and it does like an HTML to text conversion of it, so it doesn't have all the HTML tags in it, and then it pipes it through sed and looks for a certain section here. So it basically says anything in between this square bracket opening at the beginning of the line, and then EV is part of the events section, up until the next square brackets that starts a line. These square bracket sections, they were edit links in the output, which happen to be in the pages that I looked at. And then grep for all the lines that have an asterisk in it, which is basically all the lines that have an event, and then do a random sort of those lines and take the first one. So it sorts them, and you pick the first one out of it, kind of doing a random pick of one. So when you run this, it downloads it and quickly gets today in history, February 26, 1966, Apollo program, launch of AS201. So this worked great until a few days later. I got outside of the dates that I had tested, and the dates started failing because the output of elinks for some reason was not showing the edit link on certain sections, and I'm not sure exactly what they did on Wikipedia to make that happen. This is one of those edit links, and each page has one, but for some reason they weren't showing up properly on that date. So what needed to be done, I'm a little bit familiar with mediawiki since I run a couple wikis. What needed to be done was I needed to purge the cache of each page. So instead of going through day by day and purging each day's cache where I needed to or not, I figured I could use the power of the command line to actually determine which days had this problem with them and which ones needed to have their cache purged. Probably there was a template change or something on Wikipedia, and that change hasn't propagated through all the pages. So I built another command line that actually goes through and detects these. So we start out with for. It's a for loop that does for a day in, and we give it a range of 1 to 365, so the number of days in a year. Do, and this is the start of the inside of the loop. D equals, so we set the environment variable D to the output of what the current day is plus so many seconds. So, and then we give it a format, and the format is, I'm sorry, no, that's right, percent %D. So the format here that starts with a plus is basically saying give the full name of the month followed by an underscore followed by the day of the month. And this day is actually zero padded. This basically says what's the current day plus, 86,400 seconds is the number of seconds in a day, times each day from 1 to 365. So this is our looping incrementer. And then we say elinks dump. This is actually a special shortened domain for Wikipedia. It made it easier to actually, well, it actually made it possible to set up a command line trick for doing this in 140 characters. I'm not posting this trick to actually purge to actually detect the pages that need to be purged to the feed, because I didn't want a bunch of people to suddenly be, hammering Wikipedia with checking for this information, let alone this domain. So I decided to just show it in a video, and I thought I could explain it as well, which would be nice. So for each of these days, these date strings, do a dump of that, and grep for edit square brackets. So this -q for grep means quiet, and the reason why we're doing that is because we don't really care care to see the actual output of grep where it finds a line. All we care about is whether it's successful or not. So -q suppresses the normal output and just gives us a return code, of true or false, depending on whether it finds something or not. So I'm sorry, we put events there, and if it is not successful, then we say or echo D. So this will actually go through, and if it doesn't find this string, which is what's needed for the actual trick that gives us the event of the day, then we want to echo out that date so we can go back and actually purge the cache. So I'll run this, and it'll take a few seconds, and we should see dates start popping up. I could actually come up with a way to make elinks purge the cache for me, so I didn't have to go through and do it manually. But I thought, for the purpose of this video, it's nice to show that the power of the command line, can make tedious things very easy to handle, or it can be very powerful. If could you imagine in Windows or some GUI trying to do something like this? You'd have to type in every date and go through and purge each cache. But with this, it just allows me to go through and see each one. So I'll go to March 7th. So there's the page for March 7th, and I'll say purge, action equals purge, and I just say OK. So that should purge that page, and now, okay, so there's quite a few pages that we need to go through and purge. Okay, so I skipped ahead a little bit here, and you can see that it output several dates throughout the year that need to be fixed. I'll go ahead and actually write also the command to fix it, so you can see how that can be done automatically. Again, you can go through the actual action purge and do it yourself manually from the page. It turns out that March 7th and possibly some other dates they don't have the proper template, or something like that. You can see here how on this page there's no edit link. So probably we'll have to just go back and to make it so it works universally, change the today in history code a bit to do some fuzzy matching, or to just handle the events. The reason why I used the square brackets edit at the beginning of the line was because I didn't want to match the word event or events in the actual text, because it could be anywhere in the page. It could be up higher in the page where it uses the word events, even at the beginning of the line or something. So I need to give it a little bit more context to make sure it detected the right section. So if I go and look at the actual source code of the page, I found the spot where the clear the cache of this page is done on the when you go to do a GET request basically and say action equals purge. It gives you a confirmation page where you have to post you have to post and say OK in the submit value. So going into the form here, you can see what actually needs to happen in the form for us to automate this. So we'll have to submit action equals purge and submit equals OK as post variables. And the easiest way to do that probably is to actually use curl. Curl is a program that is like wget. It's typically more used by web programmers and people who need to like dump pages and post data back to web servers. So it's actually very handy if you're doing a lot of work from the command line with web pages. Just curl d action equals purge, another d for another form variable submit equals OK. And the submit equals OK is actually important because that's how it detects that you actually clicked OK in the on the confirmation page. For this, we'll probably have to use the actual Wikipedia address for the page instead of using that shortcut. So this is another reason why I need to actually show this in a video. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll say and echo. So this will also give us a showing of which ones it actually purged the cache on. So does that look right? Alright, let's go. Oh, okay, it's doing every single one. Okay, Control C that. Okay, I fixed my little command here. Basically, I had a little logic error where the and was just being run anyways. So I need to actually put this in a subshell so that the OR will trigger the curl, and if the curl is successful, it'll also print out the page. Another thing I need to do is, just so that I don't get a whole bunch of text, let's just send the output of this to dev null and also give it a quiet so that it's not printing out a bunch of data. So let's try this again. I guess it's probably -S to silence curl. Okay, so now we've gone through and purged all the pages that need to be purged. So we'll go ahead and go back and let me see, and run this again. This time I'm actually going to make it a little bit faster by doing it directly against Wikipedia instead of through this third-party link. And let me see, so now we'll check again. I'll change this to 6 just to shave off a couple instances. And it's giving me something that I didn't expect. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I see what I did. I accidentally left an extra slash in there. So let's run this again. And March 7th, like I said, is actually one of the dates that it turns out the template is different or something. So we'll have to fix that one manually. So fixing all this will require some actual editing of Wikipedia to fix some of these problems. Again, like I said, those who are actually using the Today in History thing, like in your login show or something, you should probably look at the page and take it beyond a 140 character trick to be, you know, something that does a little bit of fuzzy matching. So there's another one, but you can see most of the dates actually have been purged, and we fixed those dates. So with, you know, doing about 10 minutes worth of work, and basically most of it is just sitting around, we've been able to do quite a bit to actually fix the problem for pretty much everybody. So anybody who's using this now won't have problems on like March 8th, March 9th, March 20th, and so on. So I hope this really shows the power of the command line and gets you thinking about new ways in which you can use it to solve big problems. Okay, well, talk to you next time.